that there has been unfairness in the criminal justice system, it has baked in systemic violence or systemic disparities, because some demographics have been treated differently statistically in our system. I mean, we know, our office knows right now that you are 7 times more likely to be incarcerated in this county if you're African American than if you're Caucasian. We know that. That's just the truth.
It's my understanding that the mobile field response does not replace the mobile crisis support teams that we have at the Sheriff Department.
You're absolutely right to your question. This is not going to replace the existing mobile response teams.
And it isn't fair because it doesn't consider an important consideration. When we over-incarcerate, we're also harming our community. If you under-incarcerate, you can argue you're harming our community. But when we over-incarcerate and we do damage and trauma to members of the community who didn't need to be locked up, that's harming our community too. So it isn't just let's do the riskless thing and keep someone in. When we keep someone in we shouldn't, we are harming our community. We are traumatizing families. We are making I can provide studies if you want to see them that shows that over-incarceration or unnecessary pretrial incarceration makes us less safe. And we can argue about the study, but I can show you some studies that say that because it breaks up the contact that people have, the connections they have, the jobs, the family, the relationships they have, and when they get out, they're out.
So we've had about 5,000 people take the People's Budget, and what they're looking for are investment in human needs, and a reimagined community safety, and not as much in law enforcement and the carceral system. And as we can see, the way that the county budget is really reflected now is that we do see a huge investment in law enforcement and the carceral system, and not as much in human needs. And to really get at some of the core things that you all have talked about today, including those who are unhoused and those who are experiencing a mental health crisis, it's really important that we invest in these human needs, because when we do so, then we can start to really get at the root causes of some of the things that you all were talking about today.
A few weeks ago, when you all were creating your new youth board, I heard you all say how important it was for you to have individuals who are most impacted at the center of decision making. And today, I unfortunately don't see that value reflected in the proposal to create a new public safety and justice agency in the CEO's office. I can't tell you how excited I am to see this commitment being made in writing after your board courageously listened to community and stopped the plan to build a new main jail annex in March. Thank you. It's really refreshing to see county staff reports finally acknowledge that a more aggressive, systemic, and strategic approach is needed to substantially reduce the jail population. So while the intentions behind this proposal are really good, the blind spot that the county appears to be failing to see here is that the new agency, as it's proposed now, would be reinforcing strategies that have not proven successful in the past and that don't really align with the board's own stated direction. The new agency would be coordinating the same criminal justice partners that have been failing to decrease the jail population sustainably. Thinking also thinking that the probation's pretrial program should continue, I also see as a huge problem. We really need to be thinking of how we measure success of our programs. And when we asked probation, we were told that they measure success by simply the number of people in their program. They also told us that no racial data was being collected, even after promising to publish data on race in October of 2019. And the probation department is currently failing to implement AB 1950, which reduces probation terms statewide. So meanwhile, the public defender's pretrial support program has a stated goal to eliminate structural, institutional, and systemic racial inequality, which is, of course, a direct response to your declaration of racism as a public health crisis. So in summary, all evidence-based practices need to include racial and health equity. Again,
You have 10 seconds.
Thank you. Again, how we're defining success of our work needs to involve those most impacted. So today we're just asking you to please not pass this agency today and really slow down and work with us. And we really look forward to working with you all on it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
District 1, I would ask that you revise the budget in the following ways. Restore the human assistant aid payments to the tune of $34 million you're proposing be removed. Decrease the sheriff's budget by a minimum of the increase being requested, $16.2 million. I understand you said that the $34 million was CRF money, but the reality is people are going to be evicted no matter what. People are still suffering. Now is not the time to remove the money that will be needed. The sheriff budget needs to have a planned reduction as alternatives to 911 ramps up. It makes no sense to take tasks that are responsible from them and then not reduce their budget by a commensurate amount. If I have a gardener who takes care of my front lawn and my back lawn and my hedges, and I pay them $50 a week, and then I replace the backyard with a pool, I do not increase the amount that I am paying him to $60. That's irrational. I would reduce it by a commensurate amount because now I have to pay for a pool guy. If I give the pool guy too little, my pool ends up green. If I pay the lawn guy too much, he's not doing anything more for the additional money. Alternatives to 911 is the pool. We need it tended to. I need you to understand this because it's basic math and it seems to be skipping right past lots of people's heads. I would also ask that you fund the Public Defender's Pretrial Support Project, which supports the county's goals of reducing the jail population, promoting public safety, and addressing racial inequity within the criminal justice system. People of color are disproportionately incarcerated in the county jail. 38% black and 70% are minorities. I'm sure I don't have to tell you that that is not the representation in the county. And I also shouldn't have to tell you that people of color and black folks are not predisposed to being criminals. It's not genetic as some may think. Probation's pretrial services cost $1 for every 6 cents for the Public Defender's Pretrial Support Program. We need this investment to save money. As far as the new department centered on decreasing the jail population, it needs an equity lens, not just compliance with Mays. We need more funding for the public defender to ensure this is a consistent and continuous trend. We need public involvement and community input.
15 seconds.
We need public involvement and community input to ensure that if those affected by Mays violations are in the room to help shape the future of incarceration. Sorry. And lastly, I would like to ask that you set aside $12 million for alternative emergency responses, alternatives to 911. That is the amount we need for a program which will meet the needs that have been estimated to be there 24/7, 365. Thank you.
Thank you.